Alright, so we're going to look at order of operations. Most of you guys hopefully have seen order of operations before. What it does is allows us to calculate problems so that we all get the same answer when we're working through different operations like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, when we also include parentheses and exponents into the mix as well. So, P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponents. This is always the most important. This is the second most important. Then we get to number 3, and this is where people get confused a lot of times. Multiplying and dividing. Now, it's not always multiplying first and dividing second. It's based on which one comes first when you look at the problem and you work your way left to right. And then the fourth most important thing is, once again, is working through left to right between adding and subtracting. And once again, this is also left to right. So, first up, we have this wonderful problem. We have 3 times 5 plus 3 squared. And so, are there any parentheses? The answer is no. Then, are there any exponents? The answer is yes. This guy right here. And so, we don't do anything with this amount yet, so that's going to stay 3 times 5. We haven't done anything with the plus sign, so we bring it down. And then we have all this, 3 to the third, means you're going to have 3 times 3 times 3, which is 9 times 3, which of course is 27. So, next up then is multiplying and dividing. There is one multiplication problem, but there is no dividing. So we times 3 times 5. And so 3 times 5 gives you 15 plus 27, then adding and subtracting. There is only adding, and so we have to add these two, and so our final answer is going to be 42. If you need to, stack them off to the side and then add them up. 7 plus 5 is 12, carry your 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So your answer is 42. Alright, next up, we have order of operations, and we got to work our way left to right, but we also have to follow the rules. PE, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. So, first up, there is no parentheses, but we do have exponents, and that is this guy right here. So that's going to give us 2 times 2 times 2, which when you multiply all that together gives you 8. And then you bring your sign straight down. So we have a minus, a plus, and a plus. And then you bring your numbers straight down. So 8 minus 5 plus 7 plus 8. And then we want to work our way left to right. So 8 minus 5 is 3. Then we bring down the 7. And we bring down the positive 8. And then we do 3 plus 7 is 10. Then we bring down the 8. And 10 plus 8 is 18. Next, we have 3 times 5 to the third minus 4 squared. First up, parentheses. Nothing going with parentheses. Next up, exponents. Ding, 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 ding. We have 2 of them. So, bring down your 3, bring down your multiplication. Then we bring this down, which is 5 times 5 times 5, which means we get 125. And then here we have 4 times 4. And so we bring down the minus sign, and 4 times 4 is 16. Then exponents are done, so now we're on to multiplication and division. So next up, we're going to multiply and then subtract. So 3 times 125, 3 times 100 is 300. 3 times 25 is 75, and so this gives us 375 minus 16. Then if you subtract those, you get 359. All right, so now we have a tough problem where it's going to ask you to match, and this is where you have to take the stuff and you have 3 boxes on the side here that have your answers, and you got to move them around to put them in the correct order. So a couple things. Match the expression to its exponential form. So first thing we want to do is, what is 3 plus 7? Well, that gives you 7 times 7. And so that could be written as 7 squared, exponential. Or you could just multiply it out, which then gives you 49. So you're going to have to check your insults on the side and see, is it 7 squared or is it 49? Now, this one, you have 8 times 8 divided by 2. So you want to expand it out, especially when you have division like this, which then you realize that you can reduce it. 2 goes to 1, and this goes to 4, and then you can do 4 times 8, and then 4 times 8 is 32. Next up, you have 5 to the third plus 8 minus 4 to the third. So you have some parentheses here, so we have to do that first. So this gives us 4 to the third plus 5 to the third. Now we have exponents. Now we can do our exponents. So that's going to be 5 times 5 times 5. And this one's going to be 4 times 4 times 4. And so 5 times 5 is 25 times 5, which is 125, plus 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. And so now you can take these, stack them up. 5 and 4 give you 9. 2 and 6 gives you 8. 1. So it's going to be 189. All right. Here's another one similar to one where you had to move the stacks up and down. This time you want to put them in order from least to greatest. So to do that, you really just have to solve each one. So first up, you get 3 times 3 times 4. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 4 is 36. 5 squared plus 6 gives you 5 times 5 plus 6. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 6, which is 31. And last but not least, you get 9 times 9 minus 70. That gives you 81 minus 70, which is 11. All right. And then you would have to write them out. Now, normally when you write them out, you usually put them in order least and greatest. And usually you're going to write them out with the original term. So to put them in order, I'd write 9 squared minus 70 plus 5 squared plus 6 plus 3 squared times 4. All right, and then last but not least, a fractional type problem. So we got to work through a thing. No parentheses, but we do have exponents right here. So what is 3 to the 5th? Well, that's going to be 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 9 times 3. 9 times 9 is 81 times 3. And 80 times 3 is 240 plus 3 more gives you 243. So that gives you 243 divided by 3 plus 5 minus 4 times 5. Then next up is multiplication and division. Now this is one of the instances where division comes first because it comes first left to right. You also have multiplication in this one problem. So 243 divided by 3 gives you 81 plus 5 minus 4 times 5. Now, over here we have multiplication. So now this gives us 81 plus 5 minus 20. Now we have to add and then subtract. So 81 plus 5 gives you 86 minus 20. When you subtract, then you get 66. I hope this has been helpful. If you need to watch it again, please do so. Otherwise, contact me either during class or during office hours, Monday and Friday. And have a Make sure you email me if you need to. Otherwise, have a great day and good luck.